So we got a little sunshine today, and it's a good day to do some things on the Rambler that I won't feel like doing so much when I'm huddled in the garage with the heater running. I want to eventually put the hood back on, but there's a couple things I want to get done, and one more than the other, and I could do that today. And that's the heater lines. I put these PEX pipe heater lines on here. They seem to be working real good, except I've got a really tiny leak right here where this is where the PEX pipe goes into the shark bite, and the shark bite goes over the heater core pipe. And I believe that we have a leak in the bottom one here. Now I'm going to test that today, but the way I'm going to test it is I'm going to let this thing run until it warms up. And then I'm going to double check to make sure I don't have any wet spots here. And then I'm going to open the top valve. I'm going to leave the bottom valve open. What I expect is going to happen is that this bottom valve will start leaking because pressure will go into the heater core. As it tries to come out, it won't be able to circulate. And I expect that this is going to be leaking right where this shark bite goes into the heater, the copper brass heater core pipe. If that happens, I've got a couple of ways to fix it. What I suspect is causing it is that when you connect a piece of shark bite to another piece of pipe, if it doesn't have a straight cut on the end, sometimes it won't seal all the way around. And another thing is if you have an angle, and you'll notice the way this pipe comes in kind of at an angle, that can also cause it. Now what I do have, I still have that big piece of red 3/4 inch heater hose. And I was thinking, well, probably I could take that heater hose and slide it up on here and double clamp it and slide it over this PEX pipe and double clamp it. And if need be, I could put one of these black clips on here to act as an extra little something for that hose and clamp to grip to. And I could replace both of these shark bite pieces with some of that red heater hose, and it would look just as good, and it should hold just as well. And I did go online yesterday. I have discovered that you can buy hose clamps that are not very good, and they're what I call cheap Chinese hose clamps, and I don't even know where they come from, but they don't work. They strip. You go to tighten them and they strip out. So I went specifically looking for some good Gates clamps, and I got some. Found some on eBay. They were even less expensive than I expected they would normally be. I'm not sure if these are old products that someone's selling or what. I'm also not sure if those are going to expand enough to use on those bigger hoses. But we'll know one way or another, and if these ones don't work, I'll find some that do. But one way or another, we'll find something to clamp. And probably what I'll do is once I test that, and if I decide that it is that lower one, I'll probably swap out the lower hose and leave the upper one and see if that works. And if that works, I may just leave that well enough alone. And if it doesn't work, then we can deal with that. Another thing I can do, I've got hose clamps on this lower pipe because I couldn't get my big bar down in here to put a connector on these. So what I may do is, while I have this out, is put one of these type connectors on that lower pipe and then take these two clamps to clamp this this pipe up here, and then I'll just need a couple more of those. Anyway, that's the plan. Yesterday I hooked I tried to get the oil pressure sending unit. This has an electronic oil pressure sending unit located down there, and to get to it you have to take off the the coil out of the way, and I had to take off the cap from the distributor, and I could get a wrench. I could get a socket over it, and if you look down in there, you can see it. In fact, this wire here is actually connected to that sending unit. But I could not get anything down in there that would grip that enough to unscrew it out of there. And my thinking was I was going to put this brass oil pressure line into that spot down there. But when I couldn't get it out, I thought, well, maybe I should go a different route. So I had an old electronic oil pressure gauge, and I hooked it up, and it showed about 20 pounds less oil pressure than I know the car has, because I have this gauge right here. So I went online, looked on eBay. I actually found a good Stewart Warner, a good new Stewart Warner, I should say a good old style new Stewart Warner pressure gauge in the box for 30 bucks. And I thought, well, that's 30 bucks. I'll spend that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that sending unit there. And I know that sending unit works, because when I bought this car, the guy had an electric sending unit on here showing 50 pounds, so I know that works. So what I do when I get the new Stewart Warner one is I'm going to put it in here, and that'll take care of one of the things I wanted to do under the hood, and this is the other thing, and we'll address this today. Another thing I've been thinking that I could do today is take and put my Boston Whaler in and ride around in the boat a little bit. It's supposed to get up to 65-ish, maybe, with sunshine, and that would be nice. And I like to get the boat in because I like to run it. You know, it's not really what I would call winterized, although I did run the gas out of it. But I'd like to run it a little bit and put some gas through the carburetor every so often, just because I think it's a good thing to do in the winter. What are you stumbling for? Sometimes they just need to run a little. Good for them. I'm just going to let that sit out here and run for a little bit while I mess around with a couple of other things. Sometimes on a day like this, I'm in such a big hurry to enjoy every minute of it that it's hard for me to focus on doing just one thing. It's like, oh man, look at this weather. I got to do this and that and this and that and this and that. My nature is to try to do all those things. Come back in. Come back in. I don't want you out there digging. My nature is to try to do all those things rather than just focus on one thing at a time. So I'm going to put you on park for a minute or two while I focus on one thing at a time, and I'll be back in a little bit. Oh, the joy.